All right, we live.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPiesieTV.com and get Spears of the Mossi Volume 1 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Herit, Shawn, Khalfani, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Piesie, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Herit, Shawn, Khalfani, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Piesie. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPiesieTV.com.
All right, peace, 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 and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV with Kofi Piesie Research Team. First, I want to say Dua Duau, Dua Aku, Dua Netcher, Fatmu Walafie, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba, Gungun Kiki Gungun. We always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. So I also want to extend honor and praises to the true and living elders, according to from an African tradition, from an African perspective and from an African world view. Again, we got a great show lined up today on Warrior Scholars. We're going to let them introduce themselves in a few minutes. But brother T'Challa done jumped off here. Brother Sutek, you got anything, man, before we start the show?
Yeah, share Lafayette, I need peace to the fam. Make sure as you come in, you like the show and share the show. Help us get these shows into more algorithms by liking the show, and help us spread the message by sharing the show. We got our Temne brothers. I'm interested to get into it and see what this conversation holds. But yeah, make sure everybody that's coming in, peace not ball. Make sure you like the show and share the show, man.
All right. Let me share my screen real quick before we let me do this. Let me share my screen. All right. Share screen. Go down here real quick. Let me enlarge in this. All right. Like I said, today's Warrior Scholars. We got two Temne brothers, and I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. As I learned, we all learn. That is a phrase, is a motto that we stand by and we live over here. We must not let our ancestors down. And today's show is each show is always dedicated to someone amongst the living or one of our ancestors who are now in the Gungun. So today's show is only right to dedicate the show to. We got two Temne brothers, so now we have a hometown hero from Sierra Leone, Bai Bureh. And we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to get into him a little bit too in this interview / discussion a little bit later on. But some of y'all that watches us over here, y'all already should be familiar with Bai Bureh. I did a small presentation on this brother a few months back. Warrior scholar. Before we get started, we always have to define what a warrior and what a scholar is. So a warrior is from the old North French world. A warrior, soldier, combative, one who wages war, wage war from the war. Warrior, a person who engaged in experience of warfare. Broadly, a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. Scholar, a person who attends a school or studies under a teacher. A person who a person who has done advanced studies in a special field. A learned person, a holder of scholarship. Scholar, a person who studies the subject of great detail, especially at a university. My perspective of what a warrior scholar is my meaning of a warrior scholar is someone who is well studied and waging war against mistruths, pseudoisms, and willing to stand on the battlefield against institutions and platforms that promote that. A warrior scholar is someone who is on a mission for the truth, for accurate and sound information. A warrior scholar is one who has discipline, good character, morals, and willing to fight back against those who use misinformation dangerously. To Tyler's perspective of what a warrior scholar is, a warrior is one who has embarked on a journey of self-mastery through rigorous physical training in an effort to better one's state of being. A warrior is one who has embarked on a journey of self-mastery through countless hours of meditation in an effort to learn the art of stillness, become harmonious with their environment and all of existence. A warrior is molded, guided, torn down, and built up so that their people may live and continue to proliferate. Those who seek this path knows the invaluable gifts of humility and knows their place amongst the hierarchy of their people. But what does a warrior has to do with a scholar? A scholar is one who embodies all of those concepts mentioned above, with the famous geared towards scientific literacy and literacy as a whole. One must first be able to read and then develop superb reading and comprehension skills in order to properly relay the message received through one's scholastic endeavor. Proper demonstration of methodology is in any style of discipline or field of study. It is the only way to reach a proper conclusion. So a warrior scholar is one who fights on behalf of universal truth, one who seeks the truth, one who truly sets standards of combat, omnipresent misinformation, one who stays in their lane of humility and does not portray themselves as a master swordsman in their specialized field. So let me stop sharing my screen and we'll get into the interview. All right. Brother T'Challa, you got anything, man, before we get in the interview? I see you just popped back in. Let me start sharing my screen. Brother T'Challa. I guess he done walked away. So let's go ahead and get started, man. Foday, I'll let you introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll let your brother introduce himself. I don't want to mispronounce his name neither. And we're gonna talk about y'all names too in a minute, but go ahead, Foday, if you can introduce yourself.
Oh yes, I'm brother Foday Konteh, chairman of the Temne Nation. Peace and love.
And I'm brother Sorie Kanfi Sankoh, and I'm a member of the Tabara Nation. And I'm just happy to be a part of you guys' show today.
All right. Well, first question is everybody come on is name y'all favorite warrior scholars, those that y'all deem that may be warriors or, you know, y'all heroes or etc.
Dr. Henry Clark.
Dr. Henry Clark. That's all of them, or you can name as many as you want.
Man, where do I begin with that? I'm gonna go with my favorite one, man, Dr. Henry Clark. Man, that's one of my favorite ones.
What about
Yeah,
you?
I'm gonna have to agree with that. It's gonna be Henry Clark, as well as my biggest inspiration, Malcolm X,
Mm-hmm.
and Shansu.
Okay. All right. Family, please like and share the show. Please share the show with those that you think that may be interested in this information. All right. Name the last two books. This is another question that we always ask too. Is name the last book you read or a book that y'all may be currently reading.
Okay, well, this is a book I read, and I'm back on it again. Since we on this topic today, Kuma Malinka, his histography. If you can see the, can you see?
I can see. Let me hold on. Keep it up. I'm finna enlarge and you so people can see the book. What you got? Okay, they can see it.
Okay,
and it is, and that's the one that you was telling me to get right there for day.
Yes, sir. It's by Nubia Kai. See this on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This sister spent time with the Mali and griots right here. This is a good book right here. Yeah, I'm reading it. I already read it, but I'm reading it again.
Yes, sir. And an expensive book.
Yeah, it is. But that's where the good stuff is at sometimes.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I don't mind paying $100 for a book. You know, especially if it's got some great information that I done it in the past numerous of times, man. So yeah, that's where they be hiding all the information that jack the prices all the way up, thinking to try to disturb people from getting it. But hey, we want it, we gonna get it. But what about you? And say your name again, because I want to be able to pronounce your name right, because I'm bad with names, and I want to make sure it's Sorie.
That's correct. Kanfi Sankoh.
Kanfi Sankoh. Okay, it's almost like mine. Okay, all right. So what about you? What is the last book you read, or a book that you may be currently reading now?
Current book that I'm reading right now would be African Agency and the Making of a British Colony about Temnes by Joseph Bangura. And then I also dabble a little bit in what Foday's reading right now. But I've been paying most of my attention at this point in time to, Joseph Bangura's book.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to get you to put that in your Facebook Messenger for me later on, man. I'm gonna try to add that to my arsenal of books, man. Now let's get into your names too. Let's get in. We'll start with you, Pasoro, and then we'll go to Foday. But name, can you give us the meanings behind your names? Like over here, I know a lot of people that have names, especially when we deal with African traditions. We know, in our culture, when your parents or your elders choose or the community choose a name for a child, it actually means something. So, can you break down your name, Pasoro?
So Pasori is the understanding that I've been given, and what I'm grateful for in reference to the name is that I was named after a chief who basically fought against slave poachers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a founder of Kongbor Village and Samu Chiefdom, and it's basically a place where he would go to rest during the time of after being out for fighting so long because of its location. It was very hard to get to. And if you were on the opposing side and you would try to you wanted to make advancements, it pretty much would put you in a position where you were going to your death, because you had to travel through, through wet marshland, as well as heavy trees that protected the people. So Kangbor village is a place of rest, and the name Sorie Kanfi Sankoh is in reference to strength of a great warrior, and he was a protector of the people.
Okay. What about you, Foday?
Okay, first let me explain just a little bit about how the Temne people, the Temne, let me say it right, the Temne people, how their names come about. This is mostly Sierra Leone. I know the Temnes and the Mendes, they both had this similar naming tradition, where the Temnes call it Intorma, which is a namesake tradition. So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be named after somebody who was an ancestor, somebody died and was a prominent man or woman that was in that particular village or area where you were being taken in, or where you're from, or whatever. That's the name and tradition. So you most likely receive the name of somebody who lived and existed, and it's always a story behind the name. So when you go to that village, say if your name is Pa Mustafa, and Pa Mustafa was the one who built the compound that you live on, and he was the head man for the village, everybody in that village is going to consider you the head man on a spiritual level. They're going to consult you as this is the head man, Pa Mustafa, when they greet you, because you Pa Mustafa return. So that's how they give the naming tradition. So even that's why he's explaining he's named after somebody. That's their tradition. So even some of the names, they have a different meaning than, like, some other ethnic groups within West Africa. How they name the naming tradition is different. Mm-hmm. So my name in particular, I was named after a Temne warrior by the name of Foday Kunda Dumbuya, from Cambia, actually from the same district that Pa Sorie Kanfi Sankoh's name comes from, in the Cambia district. But my last Conteh is my last name. Foday is basically a scholar. It's forward out of the Quran. Foday, Kunda, and Kande, those two names right there, kind of interchangeable, and it's kind of a Malinke name, all right, and it comes from which means prince, as I was told. And Conteh is my clan. I come from a family of blacksmiths.
Okay.
One of the royal families in the Koya chiefdom.
And then what?
Conteh is one of the royal family. Conteh is one of the several royal families in the Koya chiefdom.
Okay.
Sierra Leone.
All right. Now, before we get in, because I want to talk about the Temne people, some more about the Temne people, and their origin. But let's talk about both of you guys' journey a little bit, man. Before we get into that, man, can y'all kind of walk us through y'all journey to finding out where y'all actually descend from?
Well, okay, I can start that off. Back in 2013, I took a DNA test. First DNA test I took with AfricanAncestry.com, and it said that I share paternal ancestry with the Temne people living in Sierra Leone. I had never even heard about the Temne peoples at that point in time. So then I began my journey and started doing a little research, reaching out to folks and stuff like that. And I started building and organizing at the same time. I had my first Temne conference call in 2013 as well. I joined the Sierra Leone community in 2013, about a month and a half after I found my results, called the Organization of Sierra Leoneans in Indiana. And that was my first inclusion really to the Sierra Leone community. It's a mixed community. You got Mendes, Temnes, Konos, and Creoles and all that and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that kind of indulged me into learning somewhat about Sierra Leonean culture in general, right? So, and with that, I started building and organizing. Like I said, I had my first conference call in 2013. we created an organization called TPT, Temne People Trust, which we ended up transitioning to our Heritage Preservation Society, which we call the Temne or Bar Nation, which means basically a Temne that was born in the diaspora, which we have several members all over the United States and members in Sierra Leone as well. So in a nutshell, that's been my journey, and that's where I'm at so far.
Okay, how many trips, and I'll pass it over to Pasoro. How many trips you so far since finding out that your patrilineage descends from the Temne people? How many times you've been to Sierra Leone so far? And we're gonna talk about your latest trip, also because you just come back from Sierra Leone. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later in the show as well.
Yeah, so it was about I want to say 7. I'm starting to lose count, to be honest with you. I want to say it's around 7 times I've been to Sierra Leone, back and forth since 2016.
Okay.
So,
all right, we're gonna definitely get into it. About your trip, especially this last one. What about you, Pasoro?
For me, it was took my test last year, I believe. But before that, I had always had some questions because due to my type of personality, the skill set that I had took on in the military, and how comfortable I felt with being confrontational, as well as just having an easy ability to be able to have, to learn fighting skills, and grew up in Bayamon and Loíza, which is Puerto Rico. I was born in Bayamon, spent 7 years in Loíza, then I moved to Brooklyn. So, I indulged in and grew up in Ifa, due to the large amount of Yobura that were brought to the island. So I never really questioned it, but I just kind of had this thing where I said, well, we all can't be, from that region. There had to be some people before. So I took it upon myself to, to indulge and take the test. And when I got it back, it said that, my patrilineal line was 100% Temne. So from that moment, I thought to myself, okay, so what is a Temne? Because I never heard of that group of people. So I started to do some research and everything, and came to learn, several different things, and I linked up with Brother Foday, and he was explaining some things to me that helped it make a lot more sense. And and just been on that journey ever since. My trip home will happen next year. I wasn't able to make it with the fellas this time around, but due to some other events I had scheduled. But I'm definitely on track to head back to Sierra Leone come next year.
Okay. And you mentioned you was a practitioner of Ifa, Sheshe. Are you still a practitioner, or since you found out you was a Temne, you kind of started gravitating toward their customs and traditions?
Just so you know, I mean, I have been a part of Islam for maybe 12 years, but I had some synchronization involved. I just quite couldn't let go of some things. So I would have to say that I'm still along the lines of Islam, but I have a tremendous respect and and knowledge and understanding of Ifa.
Okay. So let's just go into who are let's talk about the origin of the Temne people. Where does their origin reside? Because like I said, like I was talking to you Foday the other day on the phone, and I'm familiar. I'm very familiar with the Temne the Mende people, the Susu people, the Gala people, the Kissi, the Kono people, and that's due to a few years ago. I don't know why I had got so fascinated. I got fascinated with the Gala people, and so the Gala people led me to Sierra Leone, and I started doing a lot of research in Sierra Leone and these other different ethnic groups in Sierra Leone. And I started getting familiar with the, like I said, with the Temne and the Mende and the Kissi and the Kono and the Gala people, and and even with their the secret societies, the Puro and the Sandy and the Bundo society with the females, and so and just doing some research. This was like a few years ago. I did about 5 presentations on the Gullah people, where their origin started out, how they ended up in Sierra Leone, and then just touching with the Temne. Like, some of my research said that the Temne has always been in Sierra Leone, which we know the Temne has not always been in Sierra Leone. Did their origin resides in Guyana, and did they migrate from out of Guyana because of the Muslim influence and a lot of the war that was going on during that area? During that time.
Well, if you wanna deal with the origin of the Temnes, because the Temnes are a mixed ethnic group or nation of people, right? Mm-hmm. They got several different groups within inside of the Temne tribe in itself, because of the nature of the Temnes. The Temnes are warriors. If you go to Sierra Leone, you go to Guinea, Conakry, they're gonna tell you that the Temnes are the warriors in that area, right? Because the Temnes are descendants from the Sofas, who came out of the Mali Empire and invaded. What you want to say invaded? Who came down into the area of Sierra Leone and Liberia, and they basically created this empire that was called the Koya Empire, where they controlled the trade of the cola nut. Right. And you had to look at, when you go back to the Empire of Ouagadougou, it was not because of Islam, but it was because when Sumunguru Conteh, and I can send you I have the document with all this information in it. It's on a PDF, man. I want to say it's about 600 pages. I can send it to you. You'll be reading for days. But
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, send it to me. And I'm kind of familiar with what some of the stuff that you're saying. Go ahead.
So when Sumunguru Conteh, who was a Soninke king, a Soso king, at the Battle of Karina with Sundiata Kaita, when they had that incident at that moment, with that war that they had, the followers of Sumunguru Conteh, they followed what was called snake. It was a snake cult, snake society, right? Some of those followers went to Senegambia, right? And the rest of those followers went to Bureh, which is in Guinea, right? And then Fouta Djallon, which is right next to Bureh. They just basically the Guinea highlands, right? And they mixed in with the Baga people, right? So you had this influx of people that mixed in and created these new tribal groups, and then they had this Simo society. And from that faction there, and from when the Mali Empire started to crumble in around the 1400s, those people went down in the Fouta Djallon. It was like a military outpost for the Mali Empire when it was crumbling, and then that's how they end up going down into Sierra Leone, or whatever, what is now Sierra Leone. And everybody who they conquered, they engrafted them inside of their tribal group. You understand what I'm saying? Because you see, my surname, Foday Konteh. Konteh, the Contes, if you go to the origin of the Konteh surname, it originates in Ouagadougou with the Soninkis, right? So you even got them in what do you call it, Senegambia, right? Mm-hmm. So even in Sierra Leone, right, the Kanu family. Kanu is interchangeable with Mansoret in the Temne clan. The Kanu was one of the sons of Sundiata Kaita. The Kanu clan, which is one of the royal clans in the Koya chiefdom, right? Rest in peace to Hassan Bishikanu, my uncle. you know, they are direct descendants from Sudiata Kaita, right? This is a Temne clan, right? So you had this influx of people who came from Mali, Malinke peoples, who mixed in with the Baga and different groups as they engrafted them, and this is what created the Temnes. They basically conquered most of what is now Sierra Leone and Liberia and spread their secret societies and different things like that. And over time, the groups started to, you know, all these different groups like the Pele's, the Mende, the Koso Mendes, and all these different groups in that area, they started to break up, and they had their own like identities, but the secret societies connected them and whatnot. So they had their own identities and stuff, and they created basically these new groups, and that's what this book right here explains in here several times.
So I mean,
several times. That's why I put this up in here. It explains what I'm trying to, you know, what I'm trying to say about the Temnes, because people got to misunderstood about the Temnes, because the Temnes are warriors. You will read, you know, when you read information about the Temnes, you got like 2 or 3 different people coming trying to figure out who these people are, right? But you had to start with the aristocracy of who constructed these people, because the Temnes, they don't speak a Mande language. They speak what they consider to be a male language, but they have Mande words in their language. You know what I'm saying? Like Bai, the word Bai is, that comes from, those are war kings. If you go into Senegambia, you find people, some of the Mandingos there with the title Bai. You understand what I'm saying? It's because, like I was explaining to you on the phone, in Sierra Leone, the Mandingos will tell you that the Temne is a warrior, right? It's because all Mandingos are not warriors, only those who are from the Sofa, which is a particular caste of the Malinke people. The Temnes come out of the Sofas, so that's why they consider old warriors. Even the Mende people call the Temnes warrior, the old warrior, Tetelamu, which is old warrior, and he that opens the town. What do you do when you open the town? You slaughter. You slaughter to open the town. So, you know, when you're dealing with that, particular cast of people, right? When you're dealing with that particular cast of people, then you go into understanding who these people are and how they came about. So the founder of the Temnes, his name was Bai Bureh. He came from Mali. He was a Sofa. You understand? He was the one who constructed the Temnes and sent overseers over most of the Temne, which confirmed the Temne clan today. You know, so I mean, we can go on and on about it. The Temnes call their god Kuru Masaba, right? That Kuru Mansaba, it comes from Kuru Mansa, right? That's what they call their god, which just means the overall king of kings, right? So I'm gonna let my brother Pastor get in on this.
Yeah, hold on, Pastor, for you. Yeah, T'Challa, you had a question. I see you unmuted your mic. Did you have a question or follow up for what Foday was saying? Something will be going on with his mic. Well, go ahead, Pastor.
Oh no, I could just piggyback off of that and say he's absolutely correct. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you, T'Challa.
Hey, my bad, man. Like I said, the lag is bad on my end. I'll just go ahead and mute out. It's done got worse. I'll go ahead and just mute out. I'll try to build with you brothers offline, because this is like I was saying, this is what it's gonna do.
All right. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, just to piggyback off of what Kofit is saying is that, you know, there is some complexity to understand what a Temne, you know, the origin, to an extent. We had a lot of secret societies. You know, West Africa was cut off, not in a sense of due to some type of occupation, but more along the lines of due to its terrain. You know, and you have these secret societies that all link the people. So with that, it tends to be a little bit of an issue with trying to put all the information together. Everyone adds their little bit, and you know, I think WikiLeaks is one of the, you know, kind of one of the worst things that you could have these days, because It's just people adding information in regards to their interpretation of what they find. So the Temne people have been around, since the beginning. Otem, oldest man, and we range anywhere from a aristocrat society to a warrior, outright just warrior clan society. You know, um, but on this journey with all of this, I've just been learning daily, especially each time I learn something, I link up with Brother Foday and we talk about it, just to make sure I don't have my wires crossed and that something I'm reading is not, just some misinterpretation of how someone else sees it, because of course he's a little bit more knowledgeable than me, being that he's been on the journey a lot longer. But I would have to say everything he's saying is right on point from what I have researched, in reference to Gorumbo, Yabura, the Sankoh clan. We our temperament tends to be heavy warrior like, meaning we're always in the middle of something. When things pop off, we tend to be the ones that want to be in the middle of it and paint the town red. So it's just it's somewhat complex, and you have to have a patience with it.
Yeah, you went straight. We're gonna talk while we on. We all keep mentioning the word warrior. So let's talk about let's talk about Bai Bureh a little bit. But before we do that, you kind of like one of my questions was the meaning behind the Temne, and you kind of broke it down. You said it derives from the word otim, and I that was something I seen a few years ago when I was trying to, because I always want to know what everything means. I just me, whatever it is. Why is it called that? Or, what is the meaning? What is the origin behind it? So that's just me. So I remember reading that they derive from, hold on one second. This is my son calling me. All right, but yeah, it derives from the word otim, that means an old gentleman or old gentleman himself. So you kind of verified that for me too, and this was the whole reason why I wanted this interview, because like I said, I'm fascinated with Sierra Leone. Like I said a few years ago, I definitely was fascinated with Sierra Leone, and Liberia, and the culture and the customs. And like I said, I have done numerous presentations on the different ethnic groups in Sierra Leone, man. So but let's talk about Bai Bureh, man. I know that his father was from the local people, if I'm pronouncing their name right, and his mother was a Temne. And you keep going back to warrior, and anybody that does their research and study who Bai Bureh was, Bai Bureh is a hometown hero in Sierra Leone, man. And me doing some research on him and trying to find as much accurate information as I can, or even finding some information with someone that was on the ground. Like a lot of the information I got from a European teacher that actually came there and taught in Sierra Leone. And I don't know, I think he was a curator in the museum and actually got the first enlarged statue built of Bai Bureh. So can Brother Foday, is he heavily influenced, as they say, in Sierra Leone? Like a lot of things when I go on there and look, man, I mean, you see Bai Burehs. Now you see a lot of human-sized Bai Bureh statues, Bai Bureh murals, Bai Bureh paintings. I mean, from the images that I seen, man, he just everywhere over there, man. He's heavily revered over there. So can you kind of talk about it, and have you seen some of those statues and even been to the museum where the old statue, I can't think of the name of that museum, but they have students that actually goes there and they teach the students at this museum. But go ahead, brother.
Of course I know about Bai Bureh.
Okay.
I got him on my shirt. My brother Confo, man. He that's his product. He made that shirt, man.
Yeah.
But yes, he's a hero because he fought against the British, right? Him and a few other chiefs from other ethnic groups, but he led the rebellion. Yeah, he's a hero and most definitely revered in Sierra Leone. His father being a loco, we don't know. That's written somewhere. I've seen that as well. But if you go to Sierra Leone, you're gonna get all kind of different stories about who was his father and what this was and what that was or what not. But today, I even know some of his grandchildren, right? I talked to him. I was just talking to one today, but they from Casse. It's a place called Casse in Port Loco. They still exist. He got several children there. His shrine is actually there. He's most definitely he's most definitely a hero in Sierra Leone. He led the Temne rebellion, but even before him, the most famous hero or the most famous legend was by farmer Tammy the Conqueror, who was the father of the Temnes, by farmer Tammy. And then you have King Corumbo, by Corumbo, and all these different people. They were sofas, and they came down with those Turkish sabers.
Right.
They came from Mali, and the Mali Empire was a Sufi Islamic empire, and so was the Ottoman Turks. Whatever that, I forgot what that empire was called up there. The Turkey at that time, they were Sufis, and they had them secret societies based around Sufism and stuff like that. That let them expand the trade through those secret orders and stuff like that. So I forgot exactly what it was called. The Ottomans. I know it was in Turkey.
Yeah, it was the Ottomans.
So I know that they had a lot of weapons from down there. They had them Turkish sabers that they came down with, and you know what I'm saying, and was just wreaking havoc in the area. So before Bai Bureh, along with Bai Bureh, just the Temnes have been known to be warriors, and most definitely one of the reverence reasons is because of their warrior kings, because of the temperament, and I want the brother Pastor to kind of dive into by farmer Tammy, what he used to do to the Portuguese. He's been real reverence on the relationship between the Temne peoples and the British and the Portuguese when they first came back. And he can let you know about the warrior status that these people have.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so pre-1400, the 14th century, everything regarding, as you talk about, Sumanguru Conteh, and as the Temne became more established in regards to being known, Famatarmi, man, was just that dude. Let's put it that way. The Portuguese and the British would just keep their boats at bay, because anytime they would step foot on land, they would be tied and have their throats slit. And it was just a constant message of not being welcome, just due to the fact of everything they had known through the Moroccan Wars, which is what broke up the Wugudu. So they had a heavy presence to help them understand that until we say so, you are not stepping foot on land. And any boat that was really close, they'd go out, they'd seize it, they'd tie everybody, and they'd cut their throats. Just so the British, their scouting boats, any scouting boat that got close, They go out, they tie, they cut the throats. Anybody on board, didn't matter who it was. You know, if you made an alliance with the Portuguese and the British and you were on that boat, you know, they pretty much handed you the business. You know, so it wasn't until the end of Corumbo's time that the Portuguese and the British were able to step foot on land, because the trade became more appeasing and appealing at that time. You know, weapons had gotten the gun and everything had come along, and you know, everyone was looking to have their own level of power. You know, so which explained all, you know, more of the infighting. But yeah, it was you know, the lack of interest within Europe was high at that time when it came to West Africa, because of those type of events that were taking place.
Dang, I was gonna ask you something, Pastor. You had said something. It'll come back to me. Yeah, so the Portuguese, the Portuguese was the first people who actually came in that area, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And then you had the British that came, that followed behind them a little bit later.
A little later, about the late 15th century, 16th.
Yeah, right. Because you start to see them having a interest. Those people, started to be, all those ethnic groups started to be targeted for a specific skill set they have, and I guess they still have, which is they are farmers, right? They still farmers over there, right? They rice farmers, right? So at that particular time that you're talking about, you see where the interest for those people, those specific people, was targeted in Sierra Leone because of that skill set of rice. So they began to, you know, kidnap a lot of those people, the Temne, the Mende, the Susu, and so forth, and bring them over here to South Carolina, North Carolina, Pacific part of Georgia, Pacific part of Florida to cultivate the rice. Foday, man, can you kind of talk about some of the experiences that you had, man, with the Temne over there in Sierra Leone?
Yeah, I can do that, but I want to take it back a minute because you touched on something.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, that wasn't when they first got people from that land, right? So, you know, most of the United States was owned by the Viceroy of New Spain, right? They was owned by the Viceroy of New Spain, like in the 1400s up to the 1500s, right? So, and what is now Sierra Leone used to be called Koya or Koja, many Koja, right? That was the empire of Koya. It's just that JA, right? So, you know, when the Portuguese came there was a war between a group of people that they called the Sappies and the Mannies, who came from Mali. Right, the Mannies are the ones who started the empire, or whatever. So there was a war between the Sappies and the Mannies, and the Sappies lost, and they took these people to we call it my brother now it's called Rabbi Koya, the dominion of Koya. So you know, they took these people to, the Portuguese took these people to Cape Verde Island that they took captive. From Cape Verde, I got people who trace their roots, who are in my group, who are from Cape Verde, who trace their roots to the Temnes, right? They took these people, these Sabbies and Mannies, they took them to Cape Verde, and then they took them to where they had ports and stuff in the Americas. Some of these people ended up in Mexico City, and they created the first confraternity, religious confraternity. It was called the Sappi confraternity, and you can fact check me. The brother's name was like John Roque, if I'm not mistaken, Roque or something like that.
Roque.
Roque, John Roque, and these were people who specifically were from Sierra Leone and Liberia, from that Koya kingdom, Koya empires, if you want to be exact, who the Portuguese and the Spanish and they brought over to the New World. They was already living over there in them territories, right? And they was in Mexico City. You can look it up, and it tell you that these people came particularly from what is now Sierra Leone. It even named some of the ethnic groups like the Pele, the Temnes, and all these different groups like that. They was a part of that, so they had been taking them people from that long, right? And then when then you had the British and the Dutch was taking people. The British, the Dutch, was taking people to different ports that they had in the United States and New York and the different places. But one of the things that people don't understand is it's a slave port called Guinean in southern Sierra Leone. Most of southern southwestern Sierra Leone was owned by the Temne Banters at one point in the Sherbro, and those people got conquered by the Koso, which is now the Mende, and they became engrafted into the Mende tribe. But that Port Guinean is where the Port of Guinean is where I forgot the chief name. I can send you the documentary. He sent the Port of Guinean is where they were sending those people. This is during the illegal slave trading time, right? This is after slavery was abolished, and they were sending these people, right? And this is where you get into the Amistad, right? They were sending these people. The Amistad was just a city that was, it got captured. That story got captured and became famous, but there was people that was actually sent over to ports that the Spanish still had. You remember Texas used to be a part of
Mexico?
Mexico. It was owned by the Spanish. You understand what I'm saying? So they still had allies and stuff like that up in there, right? They were sending people to Texas, right? This is documented. They were sending people during the illegal slave trading period to Texas, and people leave that out. And one of the main ports they was taking people was Guinean, which is right between what is now, which is by Liberia and Sierra Leone. That area that used to be the capital of the Koya Kingdom, of the Koya Empire, which was called which was Cape Mount, and it was called Winnie Wakono, right? Wakono, my fault, Wakono, right? So that place right there, they was taking people from there, and these people ended up in Texas, right? So it don't faze me that I find people who ancestors came from Texas who traced their roots to Sierra Leone. You understand what I'm saying? So there was different people talking for different reasons. Yes, they was talking for rice. For example, my particular paternal ancestor came from Maryland, right? They was in the 1700s. They was in Maryland, and in Maryland in the 1700s was it was they called it the Upper Chesapeake Bay. All the enslaved people who were enslaved that came from Africa at that point in time, they came from the Upper Guinea coast that was in the Chesapeake Bay. And the Lower Chesapeake, they was from the Bottom Biafra. But in Maryland, they was from Senegambia, Sierra Leone, the Windward Coast, which is Liberia. Which those three regions are really kind of connected to each other. And then you had Ghana, right? And the people from the Congo, they came much later. So you had those areas. That's why when you read the story about most of the enslaved African peoples who wrote autobiographies, or you know anything about them, like I want to say the brother's name was Ibn Sorie. He was a Fulani who was enslaved in Maryland, and he ended up bowing down to pray, and the European boy kicked him, and he got, ended up running away, got freedom. He ended up being in Europe, and he was a part of that Sons of Africa thing they had there, and was helping out with when he became an abolitionist or whatever. He was in Maryland. You get what you call that boy's name, Konteh from Senegambia. He was in Maryland, right?
Yeah,
he was in Maryland.
I'm gonna definitely check that. That they got a site over there in Gambia. So like I said, I'm planning on going over there in September. So they've been talking about that. So I'm gonna go over there and see that when I get over there in Senegambia.
And just to piggyback off of what Brother Foday is saying, Galinas, most of your first Cuban Africans, whether it ranges from Puerto Rico to Cuba, what is now known as Dominican Republic, Haiti, those people were from Sierra Leone. The first group that came in came from there. So you'll find people within Cuba and even Puerto Rico who will have, you know, there'll be some simulation with word. It'll be a little bit different, but if you really break it down, they both have the same meaning, you know, because, you know, to an extent, we were able to hold on to some of those things, some of that language. So, you know, for example, for me, you know, Kuru Mansa, you know, I understood that word. You know, my grandfather used to say that, you know, all praise the Kuru. And you know, and I told Foday, I was like, man, there's some things that I just didn't. I was like, that's not a Yoruban word. You know, I've looked it up. I've researched. My grandfather had some words that were, you know, that were outside of you know, of the Nigerian language, you know, that he would speak about. And through the research, you know, lo and behold, there it is. You know, so some of the original people who came in, you know, to those islands were from Sierra Leone, whether they were Temne, Mende, or whatever name they took on now.
Okay. Okay. Sute, before I go any further, man, I know you said you had something, man. A couple of questions or whatever that you still want to ask those questions.
Go ahead, I'll come back.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's okay. Well, before we get into your experience in Sierra Leone, and even you getting your citizenship, the Temne people, are majority of the Temne people Muslims now, and what percentage still practice their indigenous tradition?
Okay, so this goes back into a historical perspective, right? So, as we explained in the origin of the Temnes coming from Mali, Futa, Jalon, or you know, this area, right? And I told you the Temnes are not a people by themselves. So, these people, these particular group of people, you know, even when the Portuguese and the Dutch first came, I have the old Koya Kingdom documents that said that they practiced Islam with, and that was in the 1400s, Islam mixed with idolatry. So, you know, that Mali was a Sufi Islamic empire. Not everybody was a Muslim, but it was there. People would have family members that practiced that. And they mix these people, you know, they are, and, you know, it's not what people think. You understand what I'm saying? It's not your Orthodox Islam type stuff you see over here in America, right? So it's like, I'll give you a good example. The Mori man or the Marabout, the Imam, is now like the Babalawo, right? You understand what I'm saying? So you can go, they go to him, they got things that they do that you just don't find in Islam. It's, you know, and then, you know, to say, do they still practice their tradition? Yes, because it's there. You understand what I'm saying? It might be what people call synchronized or whatever, but they've been practicing that stuff synchronized for so long. It is what it is. It's there. If you want, nobody's gonna force nobody to be, because they have a religious tolerant community in Sierra Leone, right? You'll have no problems with that, right? But people have been Muslim so long that even the Christians pray to Al-Fatiha. They go to the mosque and church together. They don't care that it is what it is with that, because at the end of the day, they Sierra Leoneans, they Mendes and Temnes and Fulas and whoever else first, right? So whatever means that these people have in their culture, right? You know, it's not what people think, and the narrative that we've been like taught over here. That whole Upper Guinea region in that area, these people have been Muslims for a long time. They even talk about them in the book Servants of Allah. That's a really good book too. It talks about the Temnes in there, and because they have a situation where there was some people that was in New Florida, or whatever, in West Florida, and one of the dudes used to own Bunce Island, and he used to be one of the owners of Bunce Island. He took a bunch of enslaved people to he took a bunch of people to an island called Carriacou, right? And they have a Temne nation down there, right? And it's a practice that all these people on the island do that we still do in Temne, in the Temne culture. I just did it when I was back home in Sierra Leone. They call it Saraka. We call it Sarah, right? The Temnes call it Sarah, but they call it Saraka. And it's basically like they got some synchronism with other stuff in there, but the basic of it is the basic of this is this rice flour cakes and cola nut, right? And they, you make this as an offering, you know what I'm saying? They do it, it's doing naming ceremonies and just all kind of different things. But they had this custom there that seems from Islam. And the only two tribes that was on this island that were Muslims was the Mandinka and the Temne, right? And it's something that we got this particular this custom. We still do this custom. So they actually had like a Temne reunion in Carriacou and took people there, and they all performed the little Saraka ceremony, and it was beautiful. So it is what it is with that. You understand what I'm saying? Is everybody a Muslim that's a Temne? No, but most of them are, and it's so indulged in the tradition that is there. You can't get it. We can't get around it. You understand what I'm saying? And we not better than our ancestors. And I say this to the whole African American community that got a problem with Islam. Many of our ancestors, when they came here, they was practicing this Sufism mixed with their traditional hunting societies. That's how it is in Temne culture, and that's how it is in a lot of cultures that's in the area. We not better than our ancestors. I would say just go and learn and see what it is for yourself before you pass judgment on them based on what you've been reading out of books or hearing and stuff like that, because these people didn't lose their language and culture and stuff like that, right? And they got some, and it's a wonderful, beautiful thing, and I'll talk a little bit about when you ask me about my experience, because I've been taking people there and whatnot. But, yes, the Temnes they Muslims, right? You're not gonna get around it. But not all Temnes are Muslims. You had some Temnes that are Christian. But the way that they do their Christianity, they replace Kudu Messiah, Jesus with Kudu Messiah, but they sing all their Christian songs in Temne. It's just, it is what it is. And they still have elements of Islam in their culture because that's what they were before they became Christians. The Seventh-day Adventists, most of the Temnes that are Christians, a very small percentage of Seventh-day Adventists. So, it's one of those things where you have to go and see it for yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And you're going to love it. Nobody going to force you to be a Muslim or nothing like that, but you still got to respect the culture. You got something to say, Sorie, on that?
No, I think you hit it right on the nose, brother. I think a lot of times what we do as African people who've grown up in America is we've seen the Western front or European front of what religion was teaching to keep us in our environment or to go through what we were going through. So we get this bad energy and have this bad taste in our mouth when we hear about Christianity or Islam or whatever it may be, because we're looking at it from a Western perspective. But as a military man, what I can tell you, traveling all over the world, I've served time in Djibouti. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to several different parts throughout the world. And Islam is nowhere near as volatile or violent as you see here in regards to how it's portrayed. I've run into a lot of loving people. Of course, you got your factions and you got your group of people that you got to deal with. But I've experienced nothing but love and tolerance from all types of people all over this continent, man. It ain't as bad or as shackled, mentally as most people make you think to believe, because we have a propaganda, we have a fight in regards to the United States. When I say we, that we're trying to promote, we're trying to, establish this is why we're here dealing with this group of people. You know what I mean? So a lot of us who don't research or who see only the bad things or have had bad situations regarding religion, they tend to have a different, they feel the way that they do. But from everything that I've observed with every single person I've come into contact with, that come from, from the motherland, Mama Salone or wherever, they all have a tolerance for each other, and they've all gotten along. They've all helped each other. And I have not once heard anything about, looking for the demise of another group.
I want to say this. I had a brother ask me a question one time. I mean, he said, made a statement to me one time, and he said, "There's nothing in Islam that's similar to African spirituality, what we call in African spirituality, because that's just a blatant, classification for a very diverse group of people, different family groups of people and clans living all over this continent, what has been classified as a continent today." And I knew that right this moment that the brother was unlearned about it, right? Because when you're dealing with West Africa or those people who came out of the Mali Empire, like I said, they dealt with Sufism. So the Fulani, the Fulas is just the same thing, right? So they deal with, if you know in Islam, they deal with, like I said, the Maori man or the Marabou who taught Islam throughout West Africa becomes the Babalawo, right? You go to them, they can give you charms for protection, readings, anything that you can go get from a Babalawo, you can go to the Maori man or the Marabou, you know what I'm saying, throughout West Africa, especially among the Temnes and all these different people, to carry out those tasks for you, right? And amongst Temne culture, they got two different spirits. They use the jinn that's in the Quran, which they call Anyina, right? They Anyina Musa, and these different deities as to these different jinns to carry out the work that needs to be done, just like people are doing with the Orisha. So for a person to say they're not doing this or that, they don't know, because they haven't really done the research or stayed down with the people. I actually have a book, I don't have it's in the next room, which is called Memories of the Slave Trade by Rosalind Shawn. It's specifically about Sierra Leone, specifically about the Temne people, right? And it talks about a lot of their rituals and customs, and some of the customs come out of Sufi Islam, a whole bunch of them. You understand what I'm saying? So there's many different things that you can get out of that is very similar to what they doing in in any other system. You understand what I'm saying? So somebody asking, how did Islam get to West Africa? Okay, the Maori man, the Marabouts taught Islam. If we get into somebody asked that, the Marabouts, the Maori men, these are the people who taught Islam, right? They had secret societies. You understand what I'm saying? That the whole North Africa practiced Sufism, and they had these secret societies, these different brotherhoods and stuff like that, right? And the difference between the Sufis and different Muslims is they had what's called the Zawiya, which interprets to Allahs, and this is where they go and do their zikr. This is where they go and teach the different knowledge and stuff like that. That's why, I'm just brainstorming. But in Mali, when you go up to Timbuktu and these different places, and you had them Islamic jihadists that went down and started destroying tombs and stuff, Sufi tombs, and they started destroying, going up until where they got the 333 saints and stuff like that. All this different stuff like this. This is not something that you see in traditional Islam or whatever. But we want to talk about how it spread. It's from the Marabouts, right? The Marabouts are the ones who spread it. They set up these schools and stuff like that, and then people seen this as a higher form of education. So they would send their children and stuff like that to Timbuktu and stuff like that. This is where they learned it from, right? So to make it seem like what happened in East Africa happened in West Africa or whatever, that doesn't apply to what happened to us in West Africa, right? Because many of our ancestors, they was that. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what they became centuries before they even came over here. This is what they practiced. And I'm not better than them. Ain't none of us on this call better than the ancestors. We had ancestors that came over here. They bowed down and they prayed 5 times a day towards the east. They used to travel to Mecca, all that. You understand what I'm saying? And ain't no reason for us to disrespect them because they belong to a particular society that they conform to be their own. You understand what I'm saying? That's just complete blatant disrespect to the ancestors for anybody who have a problem with it. I done seen people trace their roots to the Hausa and get mad. I'm like, you can't control who your ancestors were. You understand what I'm saying? You can't control if your father was a murderer, went out and killed 6 people. You understand what I'm saying? And did this and that. You can't control that. You understand? But it don't make them any better. Just try to understand why and how they came about that. But try to apply things that happen in East Africa and stuff like that to what happened in West Africa is different because there was no such thing as Africa before contact with the Europeans. You had many different clans and nations and families of people. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody wasn't a Muslim. Some people were part of that part of the world and some people were not. It's just simple and plain. You know what I'm saying? But for us to, go on with this different type of thing, like we was us all one people and we all practice one thing in one way, that's not us, bro. We was diverse.
Yeah, I don't think that's what most people are saying, especially like over here. Like, we very endowed into African culture, traditions, customs, even the history. Like you mentioned the Hausa, the Fuller. We done all types of presentations on these people. And you mentioned the word African spirituality a while ago. I don't use that word African spirituality because I understand where the word comes from. A lot of people have an issue with the word religion. And I got a new book coming out next month, and I'll be talking about where actually this word African spirituality come from, why we rebelled against the word, religion. And even when we talk about African traditional religion, when we go into the late 50s, when we go to John and Mbiti and Olu, we see these guys where this term was actually coined by a European professor. And and even with the word African traditional religion, I don't use that because, again, I understand that you got maybe 42 different ethnic groups throughout Africa, 4,200, throughout Africa. And even though the traditions are similar, they are different in a way. So we understand that they didn't practice. Everybody didn't practice, because if I look at let's just say if I look at the Makandi people, I know the Makandi people traditions may be different than the Akan tradition. Just like if I look at even if we just go to Nigeria, the brother said he practiced Esheshe, Ifa. When you look at the Yoruba people, the Yoruba tradition is different than the Igbo people, and they are in Nigeria as well. So so we understand that everybody was in one group of people because you had customs and traditions that were different, but a lot of the traditions varied in a certain place. And when we do understand, though, like when you mentioned East Africa, we know that even Islam or even Christianity, if we go back to the 4th century, we know that those people in the 4th century, that was that when you look at King Esna, you know what I'm saying, we say Christianity has not always been in Africa. It has always been through someone outside of Africa, and when you go to Christianity, you go to the 4th century, you go to King Esna. When you look at African traditions, majority of all the groups over there, any king is a high priest. He is a high priest. So anytime a king, like when you go to King Esna, mostly every tradition, one who has been a king is a part of the priesthood. He becomes the high priest. So anytime a king converts to something, then most of the time the whole nation follows suit. So even when you go to East Africa, the same thing. When we look at the Arabs, when we go and look at the Arabs coming in, and we talk about Islam, we know that their first presence of Islam was in East Africa. Then we know it spread it from East Africa into West Africa. You mentioned the Mali Empire. So if you go study the Mali Empire, you go study, I'm finna let you go in, Sute, you study the Songhai Empire. You mentioned the kola nut. You mentioned the kola nut trade. So if you go study that particular period during the Songhai Empire and even the Mali Empire, you can see those same people, they had trade. That trade deal with kola nuts. You know what I'm saying? So we very familiar with it. But go ahead, Sute, you want to say something? And then we'll go on until, because I don't want to hold y'all too much long. Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying, don't forget about North Africa too.
Oh yeah. That's where, right. That's what I meant to say. North Africa first, right?
Yeah. Y'all go ahead. Y'all answering a lot of my questions already. So yeah, it's a good it's a good bill, man.
I ain't gonna harp on. I just seen somebody a reason I started talking about that because somebody asked a question, right? Somebody asked a question and it popped up on here, and I just started talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things where, in general. Because a lot of what you saying, we think the same way. So I'm saying, in general, I just don't like when people generalize an event and make it seem like we were just all one people, that all our ancestors just all one people when we come from these different diverse groups, and these different groups, they got their own different story, and they made their own allegiances, how they made their allegiances. I just, my thing is that we ain't no better than them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's best to try to research, understand, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to deal with that, that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? But you got people over there, they've been dealing with that for centuries, and they still dealing with it. And, you either you going to go there, you understand, you just respect it and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying?
All right. But let's get into, like I said, man, and we'll close it out. I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. I try not to I don't even know how long. I don't even know why normally my, the time will be showing how long we've been live up at the top. I don't even see it.
Showed me. All right, 16 minutes.
Okay, so I normally try not to let the shows either hour and a half. I don't be trying to make the shows over an hour and a half. And but this is a good, this is a good conversation, good discussion, good interview. So I know the people are appreciating it, because I know I'm appreciating it, and I'm learning some things that I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what it's all about, man. It's all about learning and getting some understanding, man. And so, go into just touch on your well, you can touch on all of them if you want to, but specifically your last journey back to your homeland, Sierra Leone, man. Can you kind of talk about, how the people are over there in Sierra Leone, your experience, and your encountering with those people, and even citizenship, talk about, you getting your citizenship. Now you are officially a citizen down there in Sierra Leone. And I know it's a bunch of questions in one, and talk about the process of how to become a citizen down there in Sierra Leone.
Okay. Well, I started this way. You understand what I'm saying? I've been going to Sierra, I said, my journey kind of started in 2013 when I first started organizing, right? So I ended up going to Sierra Leone in 2016. I was hosted by a brother named Foday K at that time, you know what I'm saying? And we ended up going down to a village. I'll make it short. We ended up going down to a village in Koya. That's where I was taken in as. I already had the name Foday Kunda, but I took on the clan name Conteh, so that's how I became Foday Kunda Conteh, right? And the people, they took me in, man. They welcomed me, right? I never turned back. It's one of those things where me and my associates, my colleagues, we created these heritage preservation societies, where which are lineage-based societies, whether you're paternal or maternal lineage traced back to one of these groups, we begin to come together, boom, build a bond. And we've been traveling overseas together. I went first by myself, then I took my brothers and sisters with me, boom. Next year we back, we deep. Then the next year we go back again with another group of us, right? And it allowed us to build a bond with each other, man, and we built a bond with the people, right? We went back there as Temnes, right? We didn't go back there as African Americans, as Temnes. So the people on the ground, they took us in as one of them, treated us just like we are, like we never left. And man, it's the most beautiful thing. You understand what I'm saying? And it's something that we suggest for a pathway for all the African Americans. You understand what I'm saying? That's tracing their roots, want to go back. Whether you want to go back, if you go back and whether you didn't trace your roots, you just feel like you're a Yoruba. You know what I'm saying? You want to go somewhere, I say go as one of the people. It makes a difference. It makes a difference when you go as one of the people. So that, and I'm telling you, man, the love we get is overwhelming, man. Some information you see come out in the highlights and stuff about what we got going on over there soon. I'm not gonna broadcast it in the public until it's time. You're gonna be like, yeah, it's the love is real. You understand? So with the citizenship ordeal, man, we've been trying to get citizenship forever. We was really inspired by Isaiah Washington because he was the first one to get it, and we was trying to get it. We was writing petitions and different stuff like that. It was my sister. I was there in 2019 at the same time with one of my sisters, Shavana Fraser, Yata Boima. She's a Mende. She took a group there, and we had just got a new regime, right? And they, I went down there to the Monuments and Relics Commission, and they told me to come back. You know what I'm saying? But they was down there already. I see my brother down there. They was down there already, and they ended up getting the citizenship. Was busted up in the door for everybody else to just follow that process. So you had some individuals going to get it, but they stopped doing it with the individual thing. You understand what I'm saying? So process changed. I went there, and because what they want to do is they give you, fill out your citizenship, and then you get an oath from the president saying that you take an oath. I got a piece of paper with an oath on there. Or whatever that I had to sign or whatever. You get that, and you get your passport or whatnot. You just got to follow. They changed up the requirements, so my group ended up having to come back again. I still got brothers and sisters that need to pick up their passports. They'll be getting them soon. So if the president can't give you at that time, you're gonna have to come back when he's giving it out. It's only when the president is able to give that out you're gonna be able to get that citizenship. So, you just got to follow the requirements that they got. The requirements is on the Monuments and Relics Commission sites. You have to, you got to have your African ancestry certificate. You got to get a certified certificate now. Background check, state and federal. Background check, state and federal. You had to attend like this little seminar that they had. It was one day this time, but they got 1 or 2 day seminar. You guys attend that, and as long as you meet all those requirements and you got all your documents in place, and you had to go through a registered tour operator. Me myself, I'm a registered tour operator in Sierra Leone. That means I can sign off on people to get citizenship right now. So
break that down. You said you a tool maker.
Tour.
Oh,
I'm
tour.
a registered
Okay, right.
I got my own tour company registered in Sierra Leone, so I can, when I bring a group there, my people that meet the requirements, I'm able to sign off on my people who I brought there get the citizenship, right? As long as they meet the requirements.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so you meet the requirements, and it's on. So when my brother Sorie goes and he's ready to go, and I get all his documents, I send them over, and voila. When it's time, he'll be walking out and getting his.
No doubt.
At this time being.
How often do you do the tour? I know you say you bring people. You say you've been there several times. So each time you go, you bring a group of people. You have your own tour. Where man.
So this time, through my other organization, United House Ancestry, which I'm a vice chairman in, I brought my Mende brothers and sisters there as well. So we was a group of Temnes and Mendes. We was there together. You understand what I'm saying? Descendants. And some of my closest brothers and sisters, man, we was all together. So so I mean, our things are a little different. We more focusing on the homecoming than basically the alternative of a total tour aspect. It's more or less of the homecoming and being, assimilating back into your people. Our stuff is called business and development. We bringing business and development inside. So that's why our focus is assimilation. And so it's a little different. So, and the people that have come, they have to be registered members of my Heritage Society, or I'm not facilitating. If you're not a registered member of my Heritage Society, I will not facilitate you. And to be a registered member, you got to be a Temne.
Oh, so
Right.
women,
So,
what you saying to get on the tour, they have to have
no,
all that?
for my program, you got other groups. You can go on the tour, group there, but if you ain't got the ancestry from African ancestry that said you descend from either the Temne, Mendes, or Limba, you're not getting it. They're just not giving it to anybody like that. You're not gonna get it. So you have to have that ancestral root. That's the process right now.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is to go with me, to come with me.
Oh,
you
to
have
go
to be
with
a registered.
you. Oh,
you
so
have to be a
if
registered
I wanted
member
to go
of
through
my
you,
Herit.
I couldn't. I mean, because I don't know. Like I'm trying to pull it up now. Like majority of my percentage is Ghana and Nigeria. I done did the whole thing. My family, they come through the Bantu migration.
I hear you.
And my father comes from Uganda. They migrated from Uganda into Nigeria. My mother and them migrated from Kenya into Ghana. And when I did my African ancestry, it showed that. And I was like I said, I was so fascinated with Sierra Leone, and started studying the different ethnic groups. And I put out like a 5 series. I got 5 presentations on different parts of the Gala people and how the Gullah people ended up in Sierra Leone. And then I started talking about these other groups, these other ethnic groups of people. But my auntie and my cousin, I got a group of some older family members. They're my cousins, and they go to Sierra Leone every year. And my cousin didn't know I was into this stuff. Like we write books, so I got books out and I sell stuff. So and I'm heavily into African tradition and cultures and customs. And we were just building. And she was telling me about 2 or 3 years ago. This is when I started doing these presentations on this channel and another channel that I do stuff on, the Mossi Warrior Clan. And she was telling me about my cousins. I know them, but I don't have they way older than I am. And we were supposed to have been linking up about 2. This was right before before I did my DNA test. And in my DNA test I have, but like I said, I did 23andMe, so I don't have a specific target where it shows me, okay, I come from this specific group of people. And I'm finna get ready to do the ancestral.com. I think I'm gonna do my matrilineal side first, and then I think I'll do my patrilineal side second. But I have some, we are, I don't know what specific group that my people actually belongs to. Like I said, my cousins, they go there every year, and I hadn't linked up with them. And I said I was gonna get with my cousin, and so Cheryl can, get us together and sit down, because like I said, they older than me, and I know them through past, and they know me. They know my dad. They know me as that's Poe Bird's son. That's it. We used to see him at the family gatherings, but like I never sat down and had a conversation with them about it. And I was trying to pull my stuff up right here, man. They done updated so much stuff.
You want citizenship in Sierra Leone? You had to take
I'm not saying not right now. I'm just those are the places I want to.
So if you take that, right? If you take that and it come back on your maternal line or whatever, Mende, Limba, or Temne, I'll walk you straight in there, bro. You won't have no problem with that. That's for anybody.
Okay. Yeah,
you won't have no problem with that. But that's their format. You gotta have that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if that's the main core piece,
right?
That you have to have. They're not just giving it to anybody just walk up in there and stuff like that. Right. So, and it ain't been easy, bro. But it's easier now. If you got that requirement, you good. But I'm saying for me, normally they had to be members of my heritage society. You understand what I'm saying? Because you get people who are members of my heritage society. They sign a document when they join that contains stuff on the international level on how people need to be behaving. You know what I'm saying? So I've been taking a lot of people. Sometimes you get people that act a fool. You understand what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So I only particularly deal with my members of my heritage society and then my affiliate Heritage Society, which is the Mende People, and then my Limba brothers and sisters. So any of those people who are associated with me, associated with us, you understand what I'm saying? Those are the people who are facilitated for. Those particular Mendes and Temnes and Limba peoples. Those are the people that I facilitate for. So, you know, somebody got that, you know, if you're not connected with the Mende People family or, you know, the Temne Bar Nation, you just need to hit me up and see what's going on. If you got any of those ancestries or whatever. So, and we could talk about when I'm going, because I already got the next group almost suited going. Almost already before I came back or whatever. So, so I mean, that, you know, that's just simple and plain with that, man. I mean, anybody that has that, bro, you know what I'm saying? That's their requirement, you know. And I know it's a lot of different talk about genetics and stuff and how people, you know, what people, how people feel about the accuracies and stuff like that. To me, I care nothing about that. You understand what I'm saying? Because we didn't, at one point in time we had nothing. Now we have a little bit of something, and let's build off of that.
Don't pay them people no attention. Those people are scientific illiterate, man. We practice scientific literacy over here, so I don't engage in a lot of those silly conversations and stuff that that people have, because, you know what I'm saying, I once they go to talking, I know they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? So I just leave it alone. I don't engage. But yeah, I pulled it up, man. I'm gonna get with them, man. I'm Liberian, and I'm 19.6% Liberian and Sierra Leone. So, you know, my heritage is in Sierra Leone as well as Ghana. And what's the name? And at first, I wanted to go to Kemet. This was early on, maybe 2013. And I actually had an opportunity to go in 2015. Paid. I was going to go with Ajwa Kwesi, but something happened, and I wasn't able to go on the trip. Was it 15? Might have been 2015. So I didn't get a chance to go. But then around that same time, I started developing a more interest to West Africa. So my studies became more extent into West Africa, and I wanted to get a DNA test because I know most African Americans over here, they come from either West Africa or via Central Africa. So you know, so now my first trip, I'm gonna go to Ghana. I'm gonna go to Gambia. And like I said, the only reason why I'm gonna go to Gambia first is because we have a scholarship where we fund a child to go to school at the Gaia Journal Skills Academy, which there are 4 of those schools in Gambia. So we have a relationship with the people in Gambia, and 2 of our books from Spirits of the Mossi and from Spirits of Pens are in the library over there in Gambia. So those people are my family. So that is the first place I'm going to go, and then I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go to Ghana because my mother's side of the family has been there. Then I'm gonna go to Nigeria, and then I eventually want to go to Sierra Leone. Wherever I'm connected to, these are the places that I want to visit. I want to be there on the ground. I want to visit the people. You know, I want to embrace the people. You know what I'm saying? I want to be immersed in the culture, you know, and into the customs and etc. So, you know, those are the places I want to go. That's why I was asking about your thing with Sierra Leone, because one day, maybe in another year or so, I eventually want to go there. That's one of the places that I want to go.
You want to go, and I don't even have to be there, you understand, to facilitate you. I can be here. I got a staff over there, so I can. It won't be no problem. That's somewhere you want to go and you want to see. I'll make sure that happen for you. It won't be no problem. But okay, your brother sister. But you know, one thing I'm gonna say, I'll probably leave off on this, bro. You understand? You know, because I made a comment on one of my brother's posts not too long ago, because I'm seeing fads go on, right? But I'm seeing, like, every time something new comes up, everybody just jumps on. Some people jump on that, then that fad leaves. As far as the coming with it's coming with concerning our identity. So me, this is my point of view. You understand what I'm saying? And it's been working for me. I'm a person that believe in, let's do the progress. I mean, the processes that work for progress. You understand what I'm saying? So we created these lineage-based organization, based off of us taking these patrilineal and matrilineal test. You understand? So we know that we mix with different groups. My maternal lineage I found comes out from the Tikon Bamoon peoples. You understand what I'm saying? Which who I do associate with them a little bit. But, you know, I got Fula and all kind of different stuff in me. But I prescribed myself with the Temnes. That's why I made my allegiance with, and it worked for me. And it worked for my brothers and sisters who've done the same thing. We come together, we build family, man. We got a meeting in a couple hours, as a matter of fact. But we doing our thing, man, and and it helped us build this relationship, and it helping repairing. It's helping us do our own reparations by putting our self-interest into repairing ourselves. So now we're building off of that cultural identity, right? That done led me, man, to reconnect with my people, go back to Sierra Leone as a Temne. Now I done got citizenship in their homeland. We got land and everything, man. We doing real good. You understand what I'm saying? It's a process that works for progress. You know what I'm saying? I only want that for other brothers and sisters. And then if anybody want to holler at me on how to get that done, you understand what I'm saying? It might not be easy, but the steps to get it done have already been created. There's no sense of reinventing the wheel. That's one of my biggest things. One of my mentors taught me that, man. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If the process for progress has already been laid, go follow that, right? Get that done. Get what you need to get out of it and keep it moving. If you need to do your own thing in the meantime, just make sure you stay on track on not reinventing that wheel. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel, man. It's here. The foundations have already been laid, man. You got the Temne Bar Nation, you got the Mende People family, you got the Balanta Barasa, you got brothers, my brothers from Gabon and down in the Congo doing their thing, getting up with their people, going back there, learning language and culture. We got the Booby peoples where my wife come from, you know what I'm saying? They doing their thing right now. People getting back, man. You understand what I'm saying? This is the restoration that we need. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say that a person has to follow suit what we doing. You understand what I'm saying? But if you just want to, take an interest in here, I'm willing to sit down and talk. My people are willing to sit down and talk. This is what we own. This is what we doing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not, trying to force my way on anybody or nothing like that. But you know what I'm saying? I just want to introduce a system that makes sense. We got a bad problem in the Black and the African American community. You understand what I'm saying? Because I played sports in high school. When you play football and you lose the game, even when you win, but when you lose a game, you go get chewed out. And what do? You go watch the game tape. When you was on that battlefield and you lost, you need to figure out why your opponent won and what you did wrong. We don't do that, man. The process for progress has been laid. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel. All we got to do is read the book that all these other nations and people around the world are doing, that they have followed suit with progress. You understand what I'm saying? And we can do something. You understand what I'm saying? That's my whole point and purpose right now. Peace and love.
No doubt. What about you, Basoro? We'll end the show.
I agree 100%. I also would just like to say that there's a reason why they came down into West Africa. And I bring that up because, Brother Conteh is right. We've had situations where everybody wants to link themselves to something else because they don't quite understand or see the richness within the culture of West Africa. And there's a reason why, the Moroccans came down and tried to destroy Wugudu. There's a reason why Europe came down into West Africa. We had status. We had something that they did not have. Most people think that it all was about slavery or slaves within the region. That's true. But it all started with the status of our kings, what they possessed, how they, the type of governments and governance that they ran. Mansa Musa is the most, one of the most renowned kings, right? Everybody still talk about him to this day, and what he did with the 12 doors of Mali, was a beautiful thing. It showed how government can work. Take pride in that. Be happy, because you come from that type of stock. So one way to improve on that is just to learn yourself. That's the first step of reparations. And I want to just say thank you guys for allowing me to come on your show today.
Yeah, we appreciate both of you guys, man, for taking out some of your time, man, to come on the show, man, and give us some of this great information, man. We greatly appreciate it, man. Appreciate those that, you know, stay the duration of the show. A piece of those that may be looking at this later on in the archives. I'm definitely going to go back and look at it again because they dropped some jewels. So on that note, I want to say peace and Black African power. And we out of here, y'all. I said ETM Hotep in the beginning, which means bring forth peace. So now I'm going to say Shemem Hotep. Shemem Hotep means depart in peace. So we'll see y'all next time, family. Peace. We out.